Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Ravnica Allegiance Draft here on the channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. Before I begin, I do want to remind you that if you enjoy the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up. If the video gets to 50 thumbs up, 50, I will be doing an in-depth draft analysis in the comment that I will pin. And also, it is just a great way to show your support for the channel, so be sure to hit the thumbs up. Also, if you want to get updates for whenever I post new content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is the best way to support the channel. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I know we can make it soon, and so I really appreciate each and every person that does that. And finally, if you have any questions or comments at all, be sure to leave those in the comments section down below, and I will gladly respond with my thoughts or answers. And if you want to see any more Ravnica Allegiance content, just find it on my YouTube channel. But without further ado, let's dive into the draft. Hello, and welcome to the drafting portion. Today we are going to be using the 5-pick method, the method that I love using for all guilds sets, and I'll explain it in detail right now. Basically, the 5-pick method is just to take the objectively best card in the pack, in my opinion. For the first 5 picks, you can do more, sometimes you can do less, but usually 5 picks is around the number you want to do. And the reason being is that normally you would take strong monocolored cards instead of gold cards, early because you can use their flexibility of being a monocolored card and pair them up into different color combinations. But in a guild set, there's only 5 color combinations. So you are less incentivized to take flexible cards and more incentivized to take the strong cards and find the open archetype. So I'm perfectly willing to move off of strong gold cards early in an attempt to find the strongest and most open archetype available to me because I will get paid off later. Here, Deputy of Detention, the clear first pick. Basically, removal effects attached to creatures are generally pretty good, especially when your opponent can't kill the creature. After that, I think Windstorm Drake and Zertog Goblin are both quite good. I think I would probably end up going with the Zertog Goblin just because it's a little bit scarier early on. But I definitely think that Deputy of Detention is a strong contender. It's just such a powerful ability to be able to kill their creature while also developing a little bit of a threat and potentially a blocker as well. Here, I think Nikia of the Old Ways is a really strong card to take early because then you can really build your deck around it, and I think that that's going to be my pick here. Keep in mind, I am using this method that I just described, and you might be, wait, you just took a blue-white card, why not take Summary Judgment? That could pair with it. And then in a normal draft format where you can play any color combination, that might be something you would do, because your Summary Judgment could then go into a white-green deck, or a white-black deck, or a white-blue deck, or a white-red deck, so any color combination. But in this set, since this card only either pairs with blue or black in most cases, I think taking a strong gold card that could potentially be leading me into an open archetype is superior. Also, Nikia gets much better the earlier you take her. But after Nikia, I think I would take Summary Judgment or Forbidding Spirit, probably the Summary Judgment. I think Mirror March is pretty much unplayable. So we're definitely going to take the Nikia here. I'm just going to drag it in so it doesn't accidentally take a card that I wouldn't want. Okie doke, so the rare is still in this pack. Kaya Orzhov Usurper, not really a playable card in Limited. The problem is that it doesn't affect the board at all, and its -1 doesn't like kill anything in Limited usually because they don't usually have 1-drops, and the 1-drops usually aren't a problem anyway. So Kaya not really particularly playable. Galloping Lizrog is a card you can play in your Simic decks. It's not a super high priority because it's more of a late game card. You usually want to play it after you've adapted creatures, which means that the game must have stalled out, so I'm not going to prioritize it here. Blade Brand, a card that I haven't played a ton with, but I think it's like fine, nothing special. Grasping Thrill, I think, is probably the best card in this pack. Probably going to be my pick, even though it doesn't go with any of my other color combinations. I think this card is just really strong. 5-mana, 3/3 flyer is like fine, but then the ability to immediately have an impact, dealing 2 to them and gaining you 2 life is quite nice. After that, I think I would take potentially Skitter Eel. Skitter Eel is quite like a very medium card though, so I'm happy there's a Grasping Thrill for me to take here. Okie doke. So here we have 3 cards. They are in 3 different colors, and we're trying to figure out what looks the most open here. Gatebreaker Ram could be a bit of a sign that like a Gates deck might be open, and in that case we could play all of our guys. They all are creatures, so we could play our Nikia then. What else is in this pack? Arrester's Admonition is a fine card. Definitely a like good card in like a tempo-y blue deck. I don't think it's super great in like a slower blue deck. But this pack is definitely like not the strongest. It could be worth just taking a gamble on the Gatebreaker Ram and then trying to get a bunch of gates, but I'm not sure. I normally don't like to go for that deck unless I have a Gates Ablaze, because that's the card that catches you back up once you have fallen behind from playing all of your really slow Gates Matter cards. That being said, I think that this pack is quite weak overall, so I think I am going to gamble on the Gatebreaker Ram. I'll take it over Arrester's Admonition. One thing that I do want to note is I don't usually like to take Gates before I have figured out what color combination I'm in, so I'm not really looking to take the Azorius Gate there. Okay, so this pack gives me a little bit of a clear signal as to what might be open. Chillbringer is quite a strong blue common, probably the best blue common. I can't think of any blue common that competes with it. So yeah, the best blue common is Chillbringer, I think. They're really powerful. Could be a sign that blue is open. Syndicate Messenger is quite strong as well. I think Chillbringer is better, but Syndicate Messenger is also a strong white card. Clear the Stage is good if you have some big creatures, but black, white, and red, black don't always have big creatures to trigger the 4 power or more, so it ends up being really expensive removal. I do like Pitiless Pontiff a decent amount. Spire Mangler is good. This is actually a really tricky pick again. I think I'm going to take the Chillbringer though. I've got a good feeling about it. I think seeing a Chillbringer at this stage is potentially a good signal that it's open, and if it's also like fairly easy to fit into a potentially multicolored deck. Okie doke. So Administrative Obligation, Final Payment makes me think that Orzhov is more open. I did just see the gold card for Orzhov, the white-black card that lets you sacrifice things, and I do think that card's good. I just think it's a little bit worse than Chillbringer. At this point, it looks like Nikio was a bit of just an outlier. That does tend to happen early on in drafts. I think Administrative Obligation is quite nice. It does die to a lot of removal that exiles it, but it's also really very scary against decks that can't just exile it, because the 2/1/1s are basically a card. You would pay 3 mana for 2/1/1 creatures, so the fact that you get a 2/1 beforehand is also decent. And Final Payment. So here it looks like we'll either transfer into Orzhov or into blue-white. I'd really be fine with either. As I said before, I'm just trying to find the open colors. Grill Beastmaster is also a fine card, but looks like white is going to be our main color here. And following up with that, I think Summary Judgment's a little bit better than Forbidding Spirit. The problem with Forbidding Spirit is that it is like double white, which makes it kind of hard to cast on turn 3. Also, the ability doesn't really matter as much on turn 3. And I think I'd rather just take a removal spell here. Summary Judgment is quite nice. It looks like we are going to be either playing white-blue or white-black. And that's definitely a place that you can find yourself when you're using this type of method. But notice that I did take like a Gatebreaker Ram over like a Guild Gate and stuff like that, so I could have definitely found alternate paths to go. I also like Summary Judgment because a lot of the time when you're playing an Azorius deck, they're going to have to race you on the ground, and you can usually kill their big creatures with Summary Judgment while you're flying through in the air. Okie doke. So this is a late Aeromunculus, but it doesn't look like Simic has been particularly open. And there's also a Senate Griffin in the pack, which I really like, because Senate Griffin works if I go just like white-black, so I could just play the Grasping Throw. But I could also play a white-blue Flyers deck, and Senate Griffin would also be nice. I'm not a huge fan of Prying Eyes. I don't main deck this card. I usually side it in only like against super slow decks, but I do like Senate Griffin. So looks like we are in a good spot here. Saedro Savant, a card that I really do like. I think it's going to be my pick out of this pack. Clear the Mind, not playable. There's not really any graveyard interaction, and you're not going to be milling someone out by just playing this on yourself. Don't really prioritize the Locket super highly. I think Hazda Officer is probably a little bit underrated. I think you can have some nice beatdown curves with Azorius, especially with a more tempo-y version, but I definitely prioritize the strong 2-drops. Just Scry 2 early in the game is really, really good because it lets you set up for the later turns really effectively. It looks like Azorius is what ends up being open. It does happen to match with our rare, but notice that we didn't take another Azorius card until 4 picks in. Some people might be like, oh, if you just committed super early, it would have worked out. But there are a lot of games or drafts where it doesn't work out super well. Here, I'm going to take the Forbidding Spirit. I'm not a big fan of Senate Courier, and Forbidding Spirit keeps me in the white train, so I can potentially just move into Orzhov if I open a strong Orzhov rare. Here, I do like Quench a decent amount. It's a pretty good card early in the game, and most games you're going to be like relatively like quick depending on the build of the deck you're using, and I don't really want to prioritize Lockets or Prying Eyes, so I'm just going to take a Quench. I think it's especially nice on the draw. And Arrester's Admonition came all the way back. I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think this card's better than people are giving it credit for if it's wheeling here. It could just mean that blue's quite open. I don't love Justicar's Portal, and Twilight Panther I think is quite mediocre. Sometimes you'll side this in, but it's not really a great card. But I think Arrester's Admonition can be a really good card in the Azorius decks. Sylvan Brushstrider is actually like a fine card too. I don't know why all these cards are coming back. I'll definitely take Thought Collapse here. As I said, I don't really prioritize the Lockets. I'll probably end up with one in my sideboard no matter what I do. But definitely just going to take the Thought Collapse, and then I guess I'll take the Justicar's Portal. Thought Collapse is a card that you can main deck depending on your build, but I'm going to try and play a more tempo-y version, I think, so probably not going to end up with that situation. So here, looks like we ended up in Azorius, which is definitely a spot that I am fine being. A lot of my cards are pretty effective. And what do we have here? Ooh, Law Mage's Binding. I almost didn't see that, and I was like, wow, this pack is great for every guild except me. Look at the Rakdos cards. I mean, Daggercaster is really nice because you can pair it with Blade Brand, and you can usually get a couple Blade Brands, and that's a one-sided board wipe, because in response to the trigger, you can give it Death Touch, and then it just kills all of your opponent's creatures. Unfortunately, you can't just kill your opponent with that. That's not how Death Touch works. Skewer the Critics is definitely a nice card as well. I'm going to just hover the Law Mage's Binding. Skewer the Critics is definitely a really efficient removal spell. I'm really happy to take those when I'm playing red decks. Carnival Carnage is also really nice. I think End-Raze Forerunners is a fine card if you're playing a ramp deck, but I don't think there's very many ramp decks in this format. Like, I don't think there's decks that like have big payoffs that they try to ramp to. Otherwise, 8 mana is just too prohibitively expensive. I think Concordia Pegasus is pretty bad. I don't like playing it because it's not a great 2-drop. It just doesn't do enough damage. But Law Mage's Binding is great removal, and the fact that it's an instant speed spell is really nice as well. So it looks like the pack is already drying up, which is pretty unfortunate, I'd say. They took the rare, so like it doesn't really tell me anything about what they're playing, but I would assume that they're probably not in my colors. I mean, they're definitely not white, I would say, because I took pretty much every good white card that I saw, I think. I could take an Orzhov Guildgate, help me splash a little bit. I think that's like my only option here. Bring to Trial is also potentially an option, but I don't main deck this card, and I don't usually side it in. So, and I think I can end up with a copy in my sideboard regardless of what I do here, whereas Orzhov Guildgate potentially letting me splash. I don't think I would splash Grasping Thrill, but there's like rares that I would splash, so I'll take the Guildgate. It's between that and Bring to Trial. 10th District Veteran is just really bad, and I'm not going to struggle to make playables with this deck. So far, I think that this pack is going decently. I mean, we got a good first pick and then like a bad second pick, but following up with a Summary Judgment is quite nice. It's not as good against control decks, which is a bit of a dock on the card, but usually decks are going to have to kill you by attacking you eventually, so I'm fine to pick one up here. I do want to mention, I think Sphinx's Judgment is pretty bad. The problem being is that 4 mana to draw 2 cards is just too inefficient and limited. A lot of the time, the benefit of having 3 mana to draw 2 cards is that it can fix your draw if you are a little bit mana screwed, so you need to get up to your, like, hit your land drops, and then you play your 3 mana draw 2, and you can have a consistent early game. But at 4 mana, you usually have enough mana to cast any spell you want, like, and you already have to have both colors to cast this, and like the 2 life is not enough of a benefit. If it was like draw 3 cards, discard 1, if you played it on your main phase, then that would be a good card, because then at sorcery speed it would be Sift, and which is just a fine card advantage engine that you'd play some like in decks, but unfortunately that's not the case. It looks like we're seeing a bunch of Simic cards this pack, which, I don't know, kind of makes sense. So one of the ways you can think about the way packs work is if you are like clearly not in a certain guild, and then you see that guild in the next pack, it probably means that the person to your right is potentially in that guild, because then they're just taking all the good cards. That doesn't perfectly line up with the narrative, because we did see like a late Sage Rose Savant, which I think is a pretty fine 2-drop. So here I think it's just a pretty easy Slime Bind. We're looking like we're going to be a more defensive deck, but we're going to be really good if we can get a couple more flyers to win in the air, because we have 3, now we're going to have 4 really good removal spells, and we're going to be able to have a couple flyers, hopefully like Senate Griffins and Chillbringers, to just close the game in the air while the opponent is struggling to break through all this removal. Ooh, Emergency Powers. 7 mana. They shuffle their hand and graveyard into their library, then draw 7 cards. This card's really not what you want to be doing in Limited. I just can't see myself ever playing this card. It's kind of cool. I wish it was a different, I wish it was like a Dovin band. That would be nice. Yeah, I don't have super expensive cards either, so yeah, definitely not a card I'm going to be taking here. I'm just going to take the Arrester's Admonition. Another strong, like, tempo-y play. I do want to get more creatures, though, so I can, like, leverage the tempo, and especially 2-drops. I'd actually really like to see a couple of the 3/1 cat, I think, because I think the cat would be pretty nice with the admonitions, and I mean, not with the Summary Judgments, but it's just a fine 2-drop that can really put some pressure on the opponent. Okay. Keep in mind that I think that pack 3 is going to go really, really well because that's where we identified that Azorius was open. And because it took us a while to find out what was open, it could have like potentially put the person to our left into one of our colors. Probably not white, though. I think Rally to Battle is not a super great card. It's just too much mana for the effect. We also don't really have enough creatures to leverage that type of effect properly. Here, I would choose between Senate Courier and Quench. Not really choosing a gate like with Gateway Plaza here because I don't really have anything worth splashing. Not really going to splash a Grasping Thrill. At this point, it looks like Thought Collapse is going to make it into the deck. It works nicely with the Summary Judgments. I am just going to take a Quench. I think I can side it in against certain decks that have really strong rares and stuff, or really strong like bombs that I can't beat. Lavinia Azorius Renegade in Limited is basically just a hard to cast 2-mana 2/2. There's no free spells in Limited, and there's no people that are like really casting expensive spells unless they're ramping with lockets, but that's pretty rare. So here it's between Lavinia just as a 2-mana 2/2, Concordia Pegasus as like a 2-mana 1/3 flyer, and then Night of Sorrows. I think Humongulus is pretty bad. I don't love Night of Sorrows either. I think Night of Sorrows is pretty bad as well. I might take Lavinia just so I can have another 2-drop, though. I don't like Concordia Pegasus as a 2-drop. I like 2-drops to have at least 2 power. I think the 2-mana 2/2 is much better than the 2-mana 1/3 flyer. Just because when you play the 2-mana 1/3 flyer, it just, your opponent doesn't really feel any pressure from it. It can't like do any damage. It doesn't really block that well. Here, easy Senate Griffin. I just need more flyers to close the game out. Azorius Guildgate would be nice. I mean, I'm not even super like hyped to play Lavinia. If I can find enough 2-drops, I won't even play it. But I wouldn't play Pegasus Courser anyway, either. Senate Griffin is really nice. It can help me scry away lands. It can help me find like my Chillbringer. Definitely the easy pick out of this pack. Okay, if you insist, I guess I'll take Concordia Pegasus. I'm not super excited to play it, and I hope not to have to play it, but sometimes you have to play it just because you need a 2-drop. Exposed to Daylight's like a fine sideboard card, but I can probably just counter that type of effect, so I'll just take a 2-drop that I might have to play. And now I'll take 10th District Veteran. Hope not to play it, but you never know. Same thing with Coral Commando. Definitely more playable than a Azorius Locket, I think. I guess I'll take... I think between Goreclan Wrecker and Spikewheel Acrobat, I would normally take Goreclan Wrecker if I was a Gruul deck. I think this card, like 3-mana 5/2 is not super impressive because it'll usually trade with a 2-drop. But Menace can be a really nice effect to have access to. And the Brigand of Trial came back. What do you know? I think Scuttlegator is like a card you can sometimes play in your controlling decks, like of this type, but not really super high priority. And we get a Senate Courier. That's nice. I guess some decks really aren't good against Senate Courier. And we got the Knight anyway. So it looks like white is open at least, which is kind of nice to hear because our other colors like are not. I mean, we've got a lot of cards, and I think our colors are open, especially they're going to be open this way, but we just haven't really opened particularly well. This is just a tragedy of a pack. Like, there's just not a blue card in this pack. Like, Prying Eyes is the only blue card, and that card's not even good. Oh my gosh. And the only white cards are Bring the Trial, Watch Will Shine, and Justicar's Portal. Just come on. The uncommons are good too. Biogenic Upgrade's a nice uncommon. Basilica Bellhaunt's nice. I mean, Aeromunculus is nice. Spire Mangler is nice. I guess I'll take Watchful Giant. You never know. It's better to diversify your mediocre cards than just to take a bunch of expensive cards that are all the same, because there's some matchups where maybe I'll rather have this, rather have this. Like, I've played Watchful Giant. It's not horrific. Prying Eyes is a card I could want access to one copy of, but it'll wheel probably, so not super worried. Ooh, Absorb. Absorb is the type of card that gets people because in Limited, this card is just like very medium. Like, it's not even super great because you usually like don't need to counter spells like that. Like, I might just take the gate over it, to be quite honest, but because I already have like a Thought Collapse and a Quench and things like that. But in Constructed, this type of card really matters because the life gain is really relevant when it's attached to a counter spell like that for Constructed. But here, I think I'd rather just have the gate. I mean, I really want to have consistent mana to cast my spells. I already have some counters. It's actually tricky. It's unfortunate because I feel like there's no way the guy to my right is in Azorius, but at the same time, I feel like I am not seeing any of the cards I want to see. But I think my deck is definitely capable of winning games. Don't get me wrong. Here, Gate versus Absorb. just going to take the gate. My mana is also probably going to be not like super great, so it's sometimes hard to end up in situations where you can play that spell for maximum value. Nope, can't really play that. I was just reading it again. I'm going to take the Sky Tether here. I do like Sky Tether. I think Fairy Duelist is a card that's not very good. To be fair, I did get kind of wrecked when my opponent played 4 straight Fairy Duelists. But I think that Fairy Duelist is pretty bad. It's a 2-drop that you don't really want to play on turn 2 because of its effect and because it's too small to play on turn 2. Like, if they play a 2-mana 2/2 and I play my 2-mana 1/2 flyer, it's like they don't even care. It's just really bad. It has some utility, but I think I'd rather just take Sky Tether. Hopefully I can be winning some of my games with like Chillbringer and Senate Griffins in the air, maybe Minister of Obligation tokens, maybe Knight of Sorrow tokens if I end up playing the card. But so Sky Tether can actually be relatively effective against super big creatures. Huh. Yeah, this is another very troubling pack. The thing is I'm seeing like some good Simic cards, but like pack 1, I didn't really see a ton of Simic stuff, so I'm not like mad that I didn't move into Simic. I was like taking a bunch of white cards pack 1. Huh. So here I could take a Viscopa Vampire. Keep in mind that this can just be a white card, but it's not a super effective one. I might just take the gate. Senate Courier is probably, like, when I say probably, I mean like definitely going to wheel. I'll just take the gate. Hey, here's a great 2-drop. Why did all the good cards have to be in one pack? Because Tithe Taker is the exact type of 2-drop that I want, because it's a 2-mana 2/1 that dies into a 1/1. So it can trade off early and give me some value. Senate Griffin is really good, though, and I think I might need it. Ugh. Concordia Pegasus is really bad. Lavinia is really bad. So I think I just need a good 2-drop. It's tough, though. It's really tough. I really want another Senate Griffin, but it's kind of an expensive effect. Like, I might have to play these two. This is actually probably one of the toughest picks of the draft. Huh. I'm gonna take the Senate Griffin. I think I just need more flyers, and 3/2 flyers are the real deal. Well, there's a high alert. Can I like scam any wins with that? It's a 1/3. This is 3/2s. This guy gets kind of big. This guy gets kind of big. I don't think my deck is good with this. I also don't think my deck is good with Azorius Knight Arbiter, to be fair, though. I think Azorius Knight Arbiter is going to be better than High Alert in this deck, though. Huh. Weird. I don't like this card in general. I think it's pretty bad, but you got to play what you got to play sometimes. And, ooh, Prowling Caracol. I like Prowling Caracol. I don't like Azorius Knight Arbiter. I'd prefer not to have to play it. It's just too expensive, I think. 5-mana 2/5 is just not really where I want to be. It's kind of annoying, but I think I like the cat, and I need 2-drops. So I'm going to just take the cat. And we got another Senate Griffin. Things are really shaping up this pack. This was a really clutch Senate Griffin, I will say. And we got the Prying Eyes back. We could potentially play that. Sphinx's Insight or Shimmer. Probably not going to want to play Shimmer. Don't really want another Bring to Trial. I'll take Sphinx's Insight for a control matchup, potentially. And Exposed to Daylight, just so I have diversity on my sideboard answers. Ooh, Viscopa Vampire. I'll take that. Another 2-drop that's very bad. Man. Maybe I was supposed to take the Knight Arbiter over the Caracol. That being said, I think we'll see how this plays out. There's a Fairy Duelist. Not looking to play that. And a Twilight Panther. So, interesting deck for sure. Let's just make some cuts right off the bat. Going to cut the Watchful Giant and the Prying Eyes. And then I'm going to cut the Knight of Sorrows. I think this card's a little bit too small. But Azorius Knight Arbiter, if you treat it as kind of like a 5-mana 2/5 flyer with Vigilance, it's fine. I mean, I just think that 5 mana for 2 power is just really under what you want to be paying. But I do need some ways to close the game. So these are like basically my 6 flyers that are going to win me the game. And then I have a ton of removal to back me up. I kind of want to cut a Pegasus. Not gonna lie, I don't love Pegasus. So let's see, what could I play here? I could play a Viscopa Vampire. I could play a Watchful Giant. It does stall the board quite well. I'm not going to play a Coral Commando. I could play another Quench. Could potentially play Fairy Duelist, but I really don't want to. Justicar's Portal is pretty bad. Lavinia is not great. I told Jace that Ravnica would fall apart if he didn't take his responsibilities seriously. I didn't want to be right. Yep. You tell him, Lavinia. The classic card that's annoying in Eternal formats, but basically bad in Limited. Okay. Sky Tether is actually really nice because it can shut them down while I win with my flyers. I really don't want to play this Pegasus. So let's look at my counter package. I've got a Quench. I like having one Quench, one Thought Collapse. I think it's better than having two Quenches. Though, judging by my poor quality of 2-drops, maybe double Quench would be better. Because I could just play 2 Quenches. Quench is also just a fine effect. Usually you can get something relevant. Keep in mind that I have these 2 lands in here, so I am working with 17 right now. Kind of want to bring the Watchful Giant in. And maybe Quench over that. This could be a good build. I do have a lot of instant speed stuff. Watchful Giant, it can just be another big stabilizing creature. The problem with Pegasus is there's just it just does 1 damage a turn, and as a blocker, it's kind of bad too. It's kind of okay on double blocks, but I'd rather just have a Quench, I think. At least in the main deck. And I kind of like having a Watchful Giant as just a big guy to play. To stabilize the ground kind of by himself. This looks good. It looks like I only have 3 2-drops, but Quench is like a 2-drop. Summary Judgment can be played as a 2-drop. Not really as a 2-drop, I guess. It's more like a 3-drop, but Slime Bind can be played as a 2-drop. Yeah, let's try this. Color, combine groups. Look at that perfect sorting. Maybe the Pegasus is better than Lavinia. I think Lavinia is better just because it has 2 power, so it can be a little bit more useful. Wow. We have the exact distribution of mana, so this is kind of like a toss-up on which one I'd rather have. My 2-drops are white, blue, white, blue. This is white, 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 blue. This is double blue. Jeez, this is the exact mana. Combine groups. What the heck? Okay, I have 1 more blue card, so I think I'll just run 1 extra island. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to run 1 extra plains because I really want to be able to play Forbidding Spirit earlier on in the game. No, I'm going to play an extra island because I want to be able to play a blue spell and hold up Quench. So Magic Online also recommends the extra plains, but yeah, I want to be able to play a Deputy Detention and have up Quench, so having double blue is more relevant. So yeah, I think this is going to be the deck that I play. I hope you'll stay with me to see how it plays out. Hello, 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 and welcome to round 1. We won the die roll, which is great. Now that I think about it, in retrospect, I wish I had the Tithe Taker instead of the Senate Griffin, but I didn't know I was going to get 2 more Senate Griffins, so. And I think my deck is good anyway. I'm going to keep this hand. We have our Forbidding Spirit on turn 3, we have a Slime Bind, we have a Thought Collapse. Everything a kid could wish for. Everything a guy could want. Ooh, the Plains matchup. Oh, the perfect draw for turn 2. No, don't mind if I do. Probably my best 2-drop. Actually, definitely my best 2-drop. And bottom. So it's basically a 2-mana draw too. No, I'm just kidding. But scrying those lands to the bottom feels good. If I'd had to draw those, it would have been rough. Ooh, the Azorius mirror match. Okay. I respect it. The Concordia Pegasus does look decent against that guy. But this is why it's bad, because it can't do really anything against Forbidding Spirit. So, I wish I had a copy of the +2/+2 because I do have a pretty decent like mix of instants. Maybe it would be good to play a Prying Eyes in this deck. Okay, Slimebind. I see how it is. Monster. So yeah, we have a ton of instants. Like we have literally 4 spells we could cast this turn. That's crazy. We'll just take the 1. We want to have our mana up in case he plays something more relevant. Okay. Definitely want to get a threat down. Playing around counter magic is one of those things. Ooh. I would just want to find more threats, so I'm going to put that on the bottom. Playing around counter magic is something that you only really can afford to do if you're winning on board. That's the way I'd say it. Because if you're winning on board, then you can just not play spells. But if you're losing on board, then you kind of have to play spells, or you get in a bad spot. Okay, Syndicate Messenger is a card that I want a Law Mage's Binding if I can. Not only because it has like a death trigger that's pretty relevant, but because it can like actually deal with my Senate Griffin in a trade. But as of right now, I can just get the attacking in. The blue-white match is going to come down to a lot of flyer v flyer action, I think. Ooh. He's attacking. That means something. Oh my goodness. That's actually hilarious. So he's got a couple of very dinky 1/3s, but I think Quench is a fine draw here. Yeah, I'm not feeling the pressure, really. You have to tap 4 of them? Yeah, that doesn't matter to me either. Definitely going to be some interesting sideboard choices. Okay, he's going to mill me. Yay! I don't have to draw the land. Joke's on you, bud. Headrester's Admonition coming in clutch, as you would expect. Fortunately, I'm a little bit light on blue mana, so I can't hold up Thought Collapse, but hopefully Quench can do the job. Yeah, I'm not worried about getting milled out. Senate Griffin, dang. Oh no. 2 good cards in a row. It's important not to get let those things affect you, because they literally don't matter at all. So I'll probably use a Summary Judgment on that, potentially. See what this Scry brings us. Don't want to find an island. Actually, I probably should have put that on top so he would mill it. Hey, Caracol would have been pretty bad. The island. I think holding up Quench is better than playing Lavinia, but could be wrong. Quench / Slimebind. I think I'm just going to bounce that. Yeah, let's just use our quench while we can. That's a card we like to see. Our big giant himself. Unfortunately, the 2/4 is a bit of a problem. Oh no. So that's bad. That could be good, though. I'm just going to play the Night Arbiter because it puts a clock on him. Sure. Not a huge fan of that card, but it's kind of good here. Rats. Jeez, his deck is really annoying. Not gonna lie. You could definitely beat me this game. Game 2, I think I'll have some decent answers, but dang, there goes another Senate Griffin. Not that that really does much here. I think my thought collapse has just been kind of awkward this game. Oh no. Yep. 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 He's just gonna mill me out now. Yeah, I got baited into playing my quench on stuff that didn't really matter. Quench does look good in the matchup, though. Oh, God. Like, I probably could have countered that, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to counter this thing. But, because, like, that thing can actually attack me. So I get milled for 2, draw a card, milled for 2, draw a card, yeah. Yikes. We just don't have anything powerful enough in our deck to beat what he was doing. Yeah, none of our draws do anything there. So what we do want are things that have 3 power or more. So Knight of Sorrows is coming in. Watchful Giant, probably gonna. I kind of want to just take it out. We just want things with 3 power. So like our 2-drops all need to have at least 3 power. Sage of Savant's probably good enough because of the scrying. But we just want to prioritize. Take out Thought Collapse, I think. Just keep in mind, he has a ton of 1/3s. Sage of Savant is actually too bad to play. Coral Commando. Play Sphinx's Insight. Play Prying Eyes. I could play some Pegasuses of my own. I'm just going to run that guy. Yes, we would like to play first. We will keep. It's not the greatest hand, but it's got a Senate Griffin and a 2-drop kind of. That was a horrible misplay. I clicked the wrong land. I meant to play Plains. Now if I draw my Forbidding Spirit, I can't play it, which is really bad. Never punished. I think this exchange probably favors my opponent so far, but we'll see. I'm going to keep passing and wait till I get to, like, until he taps mana or until I get to 6 mana, because I have a lot of land drops. Okay, so he's playing a dedicated mill deck. Good to know. He's just holding up a counter spell or something. Sure. And if he attacks with that, I'll probably just kill it, because it's kind of annoying. He's just holding up counter spell. I'll represent a hard counter instead of just a quench. Top that for sure. That was a mistake. I should have attacked. I want to hold up quench though. Oh, right. Why did I scry that to the top? Ugh. Sure. That's actually bad for me. Yeah, last turn not attacking could have cost me the game. Whoa, he didn't. I think game 3 I'll side out quench and then just represent it with my mana. Also, I should have probably sided out Summary Judgment because he's not attacking me ever. That's a really good draw. Yeah, things could go well this game. I'll use my Slime Bind on the Senate Griffin. Rats. That didn't work out. So one of his cards is a Concordia Pegasus. Hmm. Let's play the Senate Griffin here. My opponent's getting out of quench range anyway. And I can start summary judgmenting his stuff. Like if he uses Senate Guild Mage, I can summary judgment that. Definitely going to the bottom with that. Oh, he's not even using this. He's holding up his counterspell instead. Interesting. Oh, gosh. Yeah, definitely going to side out this quench here. The match is too slow for it. Hmm. Yikes. He must have some decent stuff in his hand. This is so bad. I'm just getting destroyed here. I sideboarded poorly, I think. He milled 3 lands. Yes. That's what I like to see. I might just start using the Inconvenience Quench. This deck is basically impossible for my deck to beat, I think. This mill strategy is just too annoying. I don't even have any attacks. I just don't think my deck has the tools necessary to defeat this deck. Because I don't have a strong enough, like, tempo game. And he has so many flyers, and he's got this stupid spirits that I can't deal with. I'd have to be like a Gruul deck or something that had like big creatures, because he doesn't have a ton of removal. This might be my big chance. My last chance, at least. So he bounced this guy. And what can we draw? Ooh. That makes things interesting. Goes to 5. Maybe I'm still in it. Okay, he plays that again. He can't play the guy that gives all my guys -1/-0. Okay, so he has 4 blockers. Big draw here. We could be doing it, boys. We've got him to 3. And he'll have to block this thing next turn. Okay, I can pay 2. No! No, 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 no! Oh, we were so close. Man, if we got him 1 more damage. Wow. Oh. We came so close. Man, we came so close to getting him. Oh, if we'd drawn Deputy of Detention, we would have gotten him next turn. I mean, obviously he's going to mill us, but... that was brutal. We were so close. Wah, wah, wah. Good games, opponent. Good games. Anyway, despite the disappointing loss in round 1, I hope you'll stay with me for round 2. Hello, 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 and welcome to round 2. We would like to play first, and we have a good hand. Oh man, that last match was so unfortunate just because like a lot of our cards just were really bad in the matchup. Like Summary Judgment didn't really do anything, and unfortunate. His card that buffed all his Flyers toughness was really tough for us to deal with as well. Got a good feeling about this, though. I think our hand is going to be fine against whatever he's up to. So we're just going to let him hit us for 1 probably, and then we'll just hit him back. Not going to just trade it off. We'd rather trade this guy with like a beefier creature. We'll just counter it so that we can play our Senate Griffin next turn. He's also on a mulligan, so you just want to kind of punish him. Also, I might not have something to do with my mana next turn, so it'd be a little bit awkward. Hey, perfect. I'll put that on top. Drawing another Senate Griffin is going to be really nice. Gives me a play for next turn. It's pretty proactive. And he can't really attack me all that well. Because if he does, he opens himself up to a crackback attack. Ooh. Black mana. Blade Juggler. Okay. That's fine. Really? Thank you, sir. Thank you for a lovely trade. I'm going to put that on the bottom. I already have a card that can deal with creatures, and I just want to draw land, so I can go Chillbringer into Watchful Giant. I will continue to take these points of damage. Okay, that's perfect. Because he can hit me with that, and then I can kill it, and I can also just tap it with Chillbringer. Still a fine tempo play, but I would have rather drawn a land. Chillbringer is the ultimate tempo play there. Ministrant could be fine too, but not great against the Fiend. The fiendishly clever plan. That's from a book I used to read when I was a kid. It's like the How to Train Your Dragon book, but it was the original one, so it was like actually like super good. I mean, I've heard people like the movie too, but it's different. So we know his one card in hand is Frenzied Erranks. Got a 2-turn clock in the air. I like playing the Ministrant here. It just gives me a more reliable lethal next turn, because then if I trade off my Ministrant, Ministrant's tokens can help me finish him off. It can also has a really nice trade with a Burning Tree Vandal, I will say. And he concedes! Let's go! First W with the deck, looking good. That's exactly how we want this thing to play out. Fairy Duelist destroys the Footlight Fiend, and it really wrecks the 3-2 if he gives it haste. But nobody really does that. Concordia Pegasus, really bad against the 3-2s. This guy is not horrific, but it's pretty bad. So, not looking like we're going to want to make any changes here. Yep. Run it back, as they say. This is the type of matchup we wanted to face. Oh, this hand is so grim. I don't really know if I'm using the word grim in the proper context there, but it's a kind of nasty hand. I think we have to keep it because it's like 3 spells and some lands that have both of our colors, but it's not going to feel good for the opponent, I will say. So he's probably Rakdos Splash Green for the Erranks. Hopefully he doesn't have a 2-drop so I don't fall too far behind. Him not having his second color could help with that. Definitely not going to play Lavinia here. I don't mind taking a little bit of damage. It means that I can hold me old counters. Because if he plays a 3-drop there, I mean, Lavinia is just much worse. Get the Guild Gate down. This is another case where if he plays around the counter spells, then I'm also pretty fine with it. When you have a lot of counters, you tend to just want to use them. That card's also really an annoying one, so. This is a case where I'm just going to play my Senate Griffin and then ride it to victory. He can kill it if he has a kill spell this turn, but like he's got some awkward mana. He's missing land drops. He's probably not going to play something too relevant this turn. If he does, I can bounce it. And then counter on the way back down. Ah, ye old burning tree Vandal. Never gets old. Ugh. Maybe since I knew he had 2 of those, it would have been better. Wow, he's playing Rafter Demon. Rafter Demon is atrocious. Okay, we'll take some damage. Why do I keep dropping this quarter? Jesus. I'm sorry, guys, that you have to keep missing out on my beautiful looks. So we're going to play Lavinia, and then we'll attack him. We just want to have as much pressure as possible before we just go into lockdown mode here. There was an alternate line where we countered the Burning Tree Vandal. Quench is really good against mana-screwed opponents, too. I love the flavor text. When properly invoked, the Plasma Globule encloses the offensive spell with a satisfying slurp. I'm definitely blocking here. The Footlight Fiend is going to just be able to stay back and block Lavinia if I ever want to get too aggressive with it. He can't even play a Frenzied Airings with this mana. That's unfortunate for him. I need to keep my Griffin alive. It's my way of winning the race. Gotta protect your threats when you can. And if he has to burn another removal spell on it, then I'm fine trading my counter and my 3 open mana for his removal spell. I wonder if he has like a Grotesque Demise or what he could possibly have that's making him think. He's probably like, wow, I'm going to mill 3 lands because that's how it always happens. Okay. So he does use another creature. What did he mill? Mountain, Thirsting Shade, Daggercaster. Okay, good to know about those. So we do need to find some action. Hopefully he tries to cast a Frenzied Airings here. At a certain point, people just stop playing around counters because they're like, how many counters could he run? Which is pretty smart. But like it's like a fine mentality to have because you don't want to run too many counters in your deck. But I really want to get this Quench out of my hand, so because it is getting worse and worse. Yeah, I'm going to quench that. It does represent 4 damage to me and him gaining 4. Okay. Bounce that guy, and oh goodness. This is not where we want to be, I will say. I'm going to allow me just binding that. I don't want him to go through his deck. Find better stuff than a Spear. I'm 1 Chillbringer away from just taking this game down. 1 Watchful Giant. 1 expensive card. My 2/5 Vigilance guy would be good here, I think. Okay, that's not good for me. So this 2/1's fine. It can block Footlight Fiend. Give me some flying action. Oh my goodness, he's trading? I'm fine with that. I don't know how the death triggers work. Oh, he gets to stack it the way he wants? Oh, that's so bad. Oh, that's so bad. Shoot. Oh, he has to target it before, though. Okay, never mind. It's all good. I didn't think he could kill the tokens. That's because they die at the same time. Okay, Spear, and the Rakdos guy. So, yeah. So he's doing 3 to me every turn, and I'm doing 2 to him. But it's better than the spot I was in before. I do need to just draw a spell. That would be nice. But sometimes you just draw a couple lands too many, and he did draw another land here as well, so unfortunately 1 more land represents 2 pumps of this guy, so I would be dead next turn if he draws another land. Big draw, Watchful Giant. Okay, so if he draws a land, then he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He pumps this up to 5, and I die. So I think I can only attack him with 1 guy. Because land is the best case scenario for me. I just have to hope that I don't die to the Spewer. Yep, there's the land, so I'm glad I didn't put myself dead there. I'm only barely losing this race, too. I'm at 5, he's at 12, but I'm doing an extra damage to him every turn. No! This is unbelievably close. Because he's taking 2 damage a turn, and I'm taking 1 damage a turn, but he's at 13, and I'm at 12. So, like, he's still, like, I think technically supposed to use his Spewer here. No, it's so close! It's just a top deck war in the classic sense. And then he draws Frenzied Earrings. Oh, no! No! Wow, what a rip! Right off the old top of the deck. You gotta be kidding me, man. Oh, that's so sad. No. Now you give me the knight. Jeez. Ouch. That was painful. Well, let's get that game 3 W, as they say. So he likes to use haste with his stuff, so I think this guy could be good. Just eat one. Then we'll take out Quench. And we'll bring in Knight of Sorrows. And this guy, because he's a good blocker. Got Thought Collapse. Run it like this. We would like to play first. No, we have to mulligan. Feels bad, man. Okay, this is a fine hand. Hopefully we can eat something with this Fairy Duelist, or we are going to be in rough shape. But that an early 2-for-1 would be really nice with this hand. And there is your 2-for-1. Just sitting there, waiting to be claimed. Not gonna lie, feels pretty good right now. Right now, in this spot, oh man, that feels disgusting. Oh goodness, mate. I'm sorry. Were you looking to keep your creature? Wow, that was a high moment for Fairy Duelist. Definitely a potent sideboard card, I will say. Immolation Shaman, sure, buddy. Whatever you say. I definitely want a summary judgment this guy if I can. He's going to be a problem. Red doesn't have any combat tricks that pump toughness. Red-green does, but he doesn't have green mana right now. Just going to use my mana the most efficiently, get this guy down. The old Fairy Duelist to get you back in the game. Nothing feels quite as nice. The old Fairy Duelist trick. The old Rakdos Trumpeter trick. Yikes. Let's find some action here, and then we'll bounce this guy next turn. Bottom that. Yeah, I'd rather just hold back the blocker. The Knight of Sorrows double block with Fairy Duelist. Or we can double block the Trumpeter. Knight of Sorrows could maybe let me do like a massive trade. Okay, that's good. Ooh, do I want to scry before I draw? That's the question. I think so. I want to bottom both of those. That was good that I did that first. So he's holding a mana for that, so I don't really want to like let him use that mana to trade with my guy, so I'm going to do that. Sky Tithe is actually nice here. Lets me hold back the big creatures that he could play while I chip away in the air. It's also potentially correct to just get this guy exchanged for a 1/1 as soon as I can. So he pumps once, and then he plays his Spellbreaker guy. I would trade this guy for this guy. I'm actually kind of down with the trade now that I think about it more. I just wanted to make him use the mana on his turn. Because now it's a 3-turn clock. I think I'm actually going to save the Sky Tether because the 4/4 doesn't matter to me. Because I'm way ahead on this race. I don't think... I mean, black doesn't really have flyers, though, but... If he plays like a 4-mana 2/3 flyer, which he could, then I want to be able to ground it. Oh, that's a good one to Sky Tether. The old 6/5 of terror. But even better, we can bounce it. This is 5, and then I can get an extra 2. Seems worth it. Especially because I know he has Daggercaster in his deck. So, like, getting some damage in is really nice, because Daggercaster would wreck me. And we get the W! Let's go! The match win. Our deck feels so weak. I don't know why. But we managed to get the W. This card actually performed really nicely there. So maybe I want to main deck that type of thing. What else looked good? Fairy Duelist looked good. Maybe I should try this card out more. Did look good there. So let's try these out. Over some questionable cards, Quench and Collapse. Let's try that out. Anyway, I hope you stay with me for round 3. Hello, and welcome to the final round here with our Azorius deck. I think it's a pretty good deck, but you never know. We're trying out Fairy Duelist this round to see how it performs. This hand is sketchy, but I'm going to keep it. Not the greatest hand I've ever seen, but it can definitely do well. We have decent mana. We have a couple of gates. We have... Oh. Hello, Adaptive Biomancer. We've got a couple gates, and then we have slightly more islands than plains. But the classic plains draw. You know it's coming. Playing against Simic. I feel like I should be fine against Simic. I'm going to bring in some counters, maybe, post-board. It depends on what type of list he shows me, but... Okay, he's looting away his extra lands. That's nice. Island, baby. Nope. Okay. 6-drop, that's okay. Yeah, we're gonna just kill this. We don't have stuff to do with our mana, but when we draw an island, we'll be able to like counter a 4-drop or something that's kind of relevant. This is why I'm not a huge fan of Fairy Duelist, like this type of scenario where he just has reasonably sized creatures. Kind of wishing I hadn't Summary Judgmented, but you never know what type of stuff you're going to draw. Saved me a decent amount of damage at the time. Definitely don't want to let him fix his mana and ramp here. I want to draw a threat that I can cast. Not exactly what I had in mind. Yeah, Steeple Creeper hits hard. It's like a truck. I think I'm going to flash in the Fairy Duelist this turn. And that flying is annoying. If you don't really play the Fairy Duelist for this matchup, I'll definitely side it out. Hopefully I can draw another Summary Judgment. We'll play into the counter magic if he has it. If he's got his own Fairy Duelist, we're fine with that. I wonder what he could have, though, for 5 mana. Well, he just has literal nothing. Maybe he's splashing? All he has is red cards? That seems odd, though. If he's spending his turn doing this, that's probably fine. Okay, that's bad. A little bit bad. Oh, he's playing multiple colors, many colors. I need a flyer. Thank you, deck. Play around Quench by casting this one first. Bottom that. Play this guy. Hit him for 1. We're still not at the point where we'll jump with the Duelist. We'll just take another hit for 4 probably, if he has a kill spell for Senate Griffin. Growth Spiral, a card that I am not a huge fan of. The problem with Growth Spiral is that Growth Spiral, like, early in the game, it can, like, maybe ramp you, but, like, a lot of the time you don't have a ton of lands. So if you have, like, 4 lands in your hand, a lot of the time you're just going to, like, run out of lands faster. So maybe you'll get a temporary mana advantage, but that's not necessarily worth spending that much mana on. Well, this is a good trade for me. Well then. Okay. At least I'm not taking any damage. I'm going to hold back the Senate Griffin still because I don't want to take 4. Hopefully he doesn't have Quench because I'm not going to play around it. Interesting. Maybe he has some red cards. I hope he has red cards. Oh my gosh, he's playing Growth Spiral. Growth Spiral is not what you want to be doing. So look at this guy's deck. This is just a little bit of a lesson. Just look at he's played 2 creatures, and he's played this card, this card, this card, this card, and this card. So he's played like 5 cards that don't affect the board really at all. Like this can be like sometimes a combat trick. This card, like, I'm not saying this card's like unplayable, but like none of these cards like affect the board. My board just has some decent creature stuff on it. It's like none of these creatures are even like amazing. Like this card's pretty good. This card's like clunky. This card's very meh. Just looking at this, okay, you've got a Combine Guildmage. Okay, there's some creatures. Okay, and I get to make this trade? Heck yes. Yeah, this is a trade that I knew I was going to have to make, so I'm not disappointed with it. So, oh my goodness. I'm at 7 mana, so I think I'll Law Mage's next turn after he spends his entire turn on that. I'm just going to attack with... Oh, I'm not going to attack with this guy, duh. I'll attack for 4. Play a Knight of Sorrows. Then next turn I can Law Mage's Binding plus something, potentially. I don't mind going to 2. I need to make sure I pressure him enough. I could also just chump with my human. I probably will jump. It's not going to get past this Combat Guildmage. Whoa, that's big. What the heck? I should have done this before I attacked in case he had like a hard counter, but regret. So he's going to do that so he can start siphoning off counters, which is smart. But he'll be dead before that matters really too much. So this guy's going to grow by 1 every turn. This big hit for 7 is actually pretty important. Knight of Sorrows doing work. 5 mana 3/3. Who knew? Who knew that 5 mana 3/3? The helmet reveals no eyes to witness your penance, no mouth to offer absolution. Jeez, that's terrifying. Holy smokes. What the heck? That's so many counters! Oh my god, I misread this card the entire time? You can just put 3 counters on one guy! Ah, I cannot believe I misread this card for so long. Jesus, that's insane. So if I attack with everything, he takes 4 or 5. He takes 4, actually. Maybe that was a bit aggressive. Okay. See what you got, buddy. We got you to 1 life. Wow, I cannot believe I misread this for so long. You distribute 3. Wow, that's much better than I thought it was. Holy smokes. Yeah, that card is a beating. Holy smokes. Have I been passing this card? I mean, there's still downsides to it. It's not like the perfect card. But jeez. So that's what he was had for a while. He just needed to draw a mountain to play this Domri. Not sure Domri's worth splashing necessarily, but he concedes. Let's go. So, begin sideboarding. Bring to trial seems nice. Thought Collapse seems decent. Fairy Duelist seems bad in this matchup. And let's cut Quench. He's got a lot of ramp. Okay, this is a fine hand. We'll take it. Nice, the turn 3 Thought Collapse if we need it. Yeah, probably not going to be using that on turn 3, but you never know. Ooh, Combine Guildmage. Our Prowling Caracol will be happy to see you. Okay, I'm fine with this. I mean, his 2-drop is a lot more powerful than mine. And I'll be in pretty decent shape. Let's just cast the Senate Griffin. Hope it works. It's not the end of the world if it gets countered. But a lot of the time they don't run a counter in limited anyway. We'll put that on top. It cantrips. Okay, sure. We'll kill that with a Summary Judgment and hold up a counter. We don't really want to use our arrester's admonition on that type of thing anyway, and we don't want to use our Law Mage's Binding when we can just kill it. He does look a little bit mana screwed. I don't know what his white card was, but sure. I'm just gonna keep holding on my counterspell / Law Mage's Binding. My idea is that I can just bounce the Steeple Creeper at some point, or I can trade off with it. I don't mind taking 4 here. Oh my gosh, that's so good for me. This is what I like to think that this deck is good at. It's good at like getting a threat on the board and then either protecting that threat or just consistently clearing the way. That's why he should have attacked there, by the way, I think. Because then I'd be at 12, he'd be at 11, it'd be a much different race. I don't need to do anything to that. Oh yeah, this is disgusting. This is why Chillbringer always feels like disgustingly powerful when you play it. It's just a really good card. Hello, Steeple Creeper. We meet again. Hello. I have my Counterspell, my Law Mage's Binding, and a Sky Tether. Sure. Wow, I'm glad he didn't have the mana to make a 4/4. Especially after I used both my bounce spells. Let's see what we got on top. Yeah, it's fine. We're going to be a lot more aggressive with this Counterspell now because we can threaten lethal very easily. Keep in mind, Sky Tether does not prevent this from gaining flying because it'll gain flying until end of turn. I think that's how it works. I hate it when I have like a play where I can't like decide without like guessing on the rules interaction. Okay, yeah, your Skitteriel is fine, matey. He has 1 card in hand, so you might as well just go for guaranteed lethal, which means untapping. Law Mage's Binding that guy. Combat. Attack. Ah, Fairy Duelist, we meet again, fair friend. Yes! Woo! Getting the W, getting that sweet 2-1, really bouncing back after that near miss in round 1. But anyway, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed the video. If you made it all the way to the end, leave a hashtag Senate Griffin for the win in the comments section down below to let me know. It's always really cool when viewers let me know that type of thing, and it's always cool to interact with those viewers and see what they thought. But I really hope you enjoyed the video. You can find more of my draft videos elsewhere on my channel. If you want to get updates when I post new videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to hit that thumbs up if you want to see a draft analysis. I think that'd be very interesting for this draft. Maybe I was supposed to be Orzhov. Definitely an interesting thing to see. But anyway, that is going to do it for this draft video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time.